Okay, so step one, we are going to look at the tripod shelter. I have 4 videos online in this playlist where I talk about my tripod emergency shelter. That's what I call it, but essentially it's a tripod shelter. And here it is. What you've got is an A-frame. Essentially it's an A-frame with a ridge pole or tripod support coming straight down like that. And I'm just going to go through the key elements because you can see the 4 videos I've made already online. This is just a very brief outline of the key elements. I didn't quite get to finish my tripod shelter in the videos online in terms of the roof, but the roof is pretty much going to be the same as my pen shelter. Any sort of natural materials, branches, grass, leaves, you name it. So the first thing you need to look at is when you make the tripod, it has to be strong enough to support your weight. If you can't hold on to this connection point and lift yourself up like doing a chin-up, it's no good. Do it again or practice it. It has to support your weight. Then you know you're going to have a strong structure. You can put a roof on and it's going to withstand even some wind or the like. And this point here, 4 feet is always a good starting point for a ridge pole, ridge line, or that point right there. That's with my supersized shelter. And what I mean by supersized is if you make the A-frame poles 6-foot poles, you're going to have some overlap where it overlaps, so the ridge pole sits in the overlap in that V shape. And your A-frame poles can be 2 to 3 inch in diameter. Closer to 2 inch than 3 inch, 3 inch maximum, but 2 inch is fine. And then you're going to have, like I said, a shelter you can be proud of that's actually going to cover your head and not be a ridiculous looking shelter you see on the internet with people's heads sticking out. You want to be able to crawl your whole body in there. Now the ridge pole needs to be 10, 11, 12 feet long. That may seem long, but believe me, that's how long it has to be, again, to get plenty of length to get in there. And the ridge pole can be a bit bigger, a bit thicker than your A-frame poles. You know, 4 inches perhaps a bit too big, but I'm saying, you know, a bit thicker than your 2 to 3 inch pole, as long as it's a nice thick pole to support the weight of the roof and so forth. And you're going to get a very strong structure, and that's what I talk about in the videos, and even the same for the pen shelter if you're supporting up the ridge pole between 2 trees or 2 tripods. It has to have a floor. I've got videos where I talk about a raised platform, or at the very least, if you can't make a raised platform, at least in the short term, if you don't have time, you throw in what I call GFC material. We're going to talk about a floor in a later video. The greenest, freshest, cleanest material you can get to throw on the floor to at least get up off the dirt. You don't want to sleep on the dirt, but we're going to talk about a floor in a future video. You can protect the opening if you put additional poles at the front, even 1, 2, 3, as many as you like, and put more roofing material at the front. You can then build a bit of a roof to protect the opening, because the downside of a tripod shelter is that big A-frame opening. If you can build out a roof to protect the opening, that's what I talk about in the previous videos online. That's what you want to protect the opening. You can also lay wood, logs, piles of wood, whatever you like, around the perimeter of the tripod shelter and even around the doorway to make like a little enclosure. That little wall or protection will help protect your perimeter. So it's perimeter protection around the shelter. That's going to help keep out cold, even some, who knows, snakes. You might prevent snakes from coming in and the like. And it's also peace of mind. Don't forget, half of shelter building is psychological. If you have peace of mind, that's what you want. To be up on a floor, that's peace of mind. It may not stop snakes or insects, but it's going to give you peace of mind to be off the dirt. And the same with having a bit of a wall around your shelter, just like I talk about in the videos. For the opening, you want to work out where the sun is. If it's hot, you want that to be facing away from the prevailing sun, either sunrise throughout the day, sunset to get shade. if it's cold, you may well want the sun to stream into your opening to get warmth from the sun. It's more important to have shade than to have warmth when it's cold, but you can have both depending on whether it's hot or cold. You want those basic skills to work out at least where the sun's path through the sky is, where sunrise and sunset is going to be, and where the sun will be throughout the day, so you can get either shade or the warmth of the sun.